DreamHack Open is brought to you by Intel, Corsair, MSI, and Monster Energy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day one of DreamHack Open 4. We are in for an incredible journey of Counter-Strike over the next 10 days, as 16 of Europe's top teams not only battle it out for the lion's share of $115,000, not only duke it out for the spot at the IEM Global Challenge later this year, but the cherry on top of all of that goodness, duke it out for those all-important RMR points. My name is Freya Spears, your host for the duration of the day, and of course, joining me, as always, the wonderful Maniac and Potter. Guys, an absolute pleasure to be back on the virtual desk with you. Maniac, it's been a minute since I've seen your beautiful face. What have you been up to? How have you been keeping?
I like the way this day's starting. Compliment from the get-go. Yeah, I was trying to think, maybe Leipzig was the last time we worked together. I mean, that was the time when we could actually stand next to each other. But it's great to be together again for some Counter-Strike.
It really is, and Potter as well. It seems like only a few moments ago that we were doing a DreamHack Open Summer together. How have you been keeping?
I've been keeping good. You know, there's been a lot of Counter-Strike action to be had. You know, the last time we were on a desk together, Freya, we were talking about all these online cups. Lately, it's all been about EPL. There's been some high-tier, high-quality Counter-Strike that's been played here over the past month and a half. So I'm excited to see exactly what kind of form these players and teams are coming through in this DreamHack Open.
Well, if you're familiar with Potter, you'll also probably be familiar with Timo, who might be in the naughty corner at the moment because there was a bit of an incident, wasn't there?
There was a bit of an incident. I fell into the lake a couple days ago. He is the one to blame. Listen, I don't want to blame the little four-legged creature here to my left, but he was the one to blame. He pushed my boat away from the dock. I fell into the water. There were tons of people watching. Probably some people filming. I might end up on some sort of fails compilation video on YouTube here in the near future. Who knows?
I was going to say, I'm hoping there was some video evidence of that. But of course, staying away from that, of course, it's going to be an absolutely incredible ride today. Of course, in part thanks to our sponsors, the wonderful MSI, Corsair, Monster Energy, DHS, and of course, Intel. Thank you so much for joining us for DreamHack Open 4. It's going to be an absolutely spectacular tournament. But this isn't the only treat that I have in store for you guys. You can hear the doorbell ringing, which of course means our lovely special face of Frankie Ward. Frankie, absolutely pleasure to get to introduce you here today. It's such a shame we don't normally get to work events together, so I'm so glad that we finally get to do some CS together.
So am I, because you're really good with plants, right? And I'm a bit worried that I killed it. So I don't know, Frey, if you've got any advice for me. Well, I think, so here's the thing, right? My hair's naturally straight, and so I perm it every day. So I thought I'd try curling the plant leaves. And I don't think it liked it very much.
I like the look, though. I like what you've gone for. An attempt was made, but maybe a little bit more water next time. That's all I can really say on that one.
Okay, I'll give it a drink. I'll make it a G&T for the games.
But we've also been seeing your wonderful house renovations as well. If anybody is not following Frankie on Instagram, make sure you go and do that, because I absolutely love keeping up to date with all the work you've been doing to your new house. How's it been going?
I mean, my fiance's been doing a fabulous job. What can I say? I decide what goes in places and he makes it happen. It's great. It's a perfect relationship. I get a lot out of it.
Beautiful.
That works like that, yeah. That works like that.
Thank you.
So what are you going to be up here today at DreamHack Open 4? You're going to be our content host, aren't you?
Yes, so I have already spoken to a few of the players. Watch out for Cajun in my chat room. Hopefully that's going to be coming up later today because that was quite special. We had about 5 minutes to grab some time to chat before we went off to watch Denmark beat England. So not feeling so great about that interview anymore. And also there'll be some pre-match interviews with the players. And also I've had the delight of working with the DreamHack team on some films about the history of DreamHack Open as well.
Oh, very nice. And we'll be starting it off, won't we, with this DreamHack legacy. Do you want to intro our first piece of content?
I would love to. Thank you so much, Freya. We're going to jump in a time machine and head back all the way to 2013 when DreamHack had a very special event that I'm sure you want to find out more about.
Every story has a beginning, and the DreamHack Open CSGO story starts here, at DreamHack Winter 2013, the tournament that set the foundation for our investment into the game so many of us love. We were given the immense honour of producing the first ever Valve-sponsored Counter-Strike Global Offensive event. In short, the first CSGO major. Back then, it was not yet called DreamHack Open. The name was quite short and to the point.
The DreamHack SteelSeries Counter-Strike Go Championship. Welcome to Sweden and welcome to Jönköping, the home of esports.
This final between Fnatic and NIP was of epic proportions.
So I'm going to tell you, Nip's going to crush this 2-0.
Bit weird looking back. I think we weren't really supposed to win that tournament. We probably wasn't supposed to pass the group stage. We saw ourselves as underdogs, maybe even saw ourselves as losing the game before entering it.
Bomb site, they get the bomb and they manage to defend.
He's taking a 1v1 there for Devilwalk, and Devilwalk takes out Fiflaren.
Fiflaren go back and save it, or is it just Fiflaren pushes out, they line up, he gets one, he gets two, fantastic, they win the round! And that's it, 16-14, Fnatic take the first map.
Yeah, it was insane feeling, and I think it also started to build the insane rivalry that we have against NIP till this day. That match is a very huge factor to that.
At halftime, the score was 13-2, and Fnatic took the second pistol round with a strong 3K play from JW, leaving them just 2 rounds from victory. Soon, they manifested their triumph and became the first ever CSGO major champions.
And there it is, they win it, and look at
this is a legacy we carry and display with immense pride. A foundation that was set in 2013. A passion for the game that never dies.
I absolutely love getting to take a trip down memory lane there. That was actually one of the first Counter-Strike events that I tuned into as a viewer, but Maniac, I know you'll have some fond memories of that one as well.
Yeah, I was playing that event. I think I lost to Fnatic in quarterfinal. But what was crazy is that at this point in time, we did not know that we were writing the first pages of a crazy book in the Legacy of Counter-Strike. We had no idea where this was going, and all the possibilities were open. So it's insane for me to watch it again.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Just looking back, you know, the size of the crowd, I mean, it's incredibly impressive for then, but you look at some of the stadiums that we fill now, Potter, it's massive how much it's grown since then.
It really is. And I mean, just looking at that video, even that was the NIP era. You know, even the year before that, we had little ESCA lands and tiny hotel lobbies, everyone just close-knit, shoulder to shoulder. And that was one of the very first huge stadium events. And as you mentioned, Freya, they've just gotten bigger and bigger. Things have gotten upgraded and just scaled to a whole new level that, as Matthew mentioned, I don't think any of us even imagined could be possible. So certainly looking back like this, having a trip down memory lane, it's kind of gives you goosebumps a little bit to realize where we are now.
It really does. And of course, we speak about legacy, and a player with a massive storied legacy is, of course, MBK. And Frankie had a chance to check in with him ahead of today and see some of his most iconic moments. So let's take a look.
Rotated over. Zaiwu is here with the AWP.
Oh, he's absolutely ready. And look at MBK. Actually gets caught out. He still picks up a double like lightning out of the sky.
At that point, in the best of 3, after winning the first match, that was like train. We were like in a very good position. It was very important to just break him mentally during that T half in order to really secure the game. And I think that was the main part here. The frags are not really impressive, just a succession of a lot of frags, but what really matters is to show them that no matter what, even if we're 2-on-5, 3-on-5, we can get any round, and that's basically what happens. And I think it was just great to be able to break him at that point and to really show them that no matter what you do, this is going to be our final and you can't take it away from us.
The setup for Envy is going to be
my favorite memory on LAN by far of any tournament I've ever played, despite losing the final and having another heartbreak against Fnatic at the time.
Kenny gets a kill on Crims. Flusher in the back lines. He's out of ammo. A knife is out. What's happening? Flusher. He's getting stabbed. He goes down. He drops Flusher. It's going to be a 2v2. No boss.
Just the greatest stage that ever happened in Counter-Strike, probably. And yeah, that knife play was, to me, I'm very proud of it because I see it as a big outplay into baiting him, into getting the weapon out and whatnot, while I have no bullets myself anymore. And getting in the grand final of a major on the biggest stage, your first kill being a knife kill on one of your biggest rivals, is always very good, right? And it always feels extremely good. The crowd reaction, the event, everything makes it to be probably my favorite moment on LAN that I've ever played.
That has got to be one of my favorite moments that I've ever witnessed play out. I was in the stadium for that moment, watching MBK get that knife kill Potter. Absolutely unreal scenes from him.
Unreal. Bob and weave, dodge the bullets, the matrix action. You know, lately, these players have just gotten so damn good that we don't get to see plays like that very often. But when we do, man, it's something else. And you're absolutely right, Freya. That moment is a moment you'll always remember.
Yeah, and speaking about MBK as a player, Maniac, obviously you'll know a lot about him coming from the same region and similar teams. He's a player that, you know, I feel like has been underestimated a lot with his impact within the Counter-Strike sphere.
Yeah, I mean, to make it short, I don't think there is many players in the French scene that have the tenure, the career, and the duration that NBK has at the top level. He was there in Source, he was always relevant in CSGO, and now again with OG, he's at the top of the list as well. So he's the definition of a long and successful career.
But of course, it wouldn't be a DreamHack Open without getting into our topic of the day. And today is online play versus offline play. A question that's been asked a lot to our players, and we had a chance to check in with them again to see exactly what they're thinking of it. So let's take a look.
So, topic of the day. What do you feel about online versus offline play?
Again, because I think we are doing this since 6 months already. Up to you. It's up to you. I can do it, but like actually, in my opinion, that's something like just common. It's been 6 months now, more than 6 months.
Well, online against offline is a pretty easy answer. Offline is much better because it's more difficult to perform offline in front of a big stadium. A lot of people around you, the pressure is high, like most of things are really different. So obviously offline is much better for experienced team and online is a bit better for less experienced team.
I think more teams in top level maybe not ready for some opponents going to do this like crazy stuff, you know. So I think that's the more part of it.
It's a question that's been asked a lot, isn't it, in this online era, Maniac? But I think it's a valid one to be asking because there's a lot of differences. And from your perspective, you know, as a former player, were there any sort of big differences for you when you were going between LANs and then online play?
I mean, obviously there's a huge difference. Would it be, I think pressure is the #1 factor that comes to mind. But we just got to accept that now this is our situation. This is the only Counter-Strike we can get. So we try to make the best out of it.
Exactly. We've got to be grateful that we can still be doing these tournaments online, Potter, because, you know, it could be way worse. I'm really glad that we still get to do these sort of virtual desks with each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love Shox's attitude, his approach to the whole situation. The hand that he was dealt, you know, this is a shitty situation. No one wants to be here. Everyone wants to be on LAN. But Shoxy looks like he's absolutely embraced the, as I mentioned, the hand that he was dealt. And you can actually absolutely see that influence within him in that server because he's on the up and up right now and he's absolutely turning heads in that server.
Well, I think with that, it's about time to get this show on the road, as it's a banger of the series to be starting the day off here at DreamHack Open Full. It's going to be Group A action to get our pulses racing, and with none other than those higher in the server. The mighty men of Maus taking on the Frenchmen of Vitality in a showdown for the ages, and it's coming up after this.